Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Joshua T. Berglan, and I want to welcome you to another broadcast. Today, we're going to have another civil justice broadcast. So that means the people that we will be speaking to are locked up in a shadow prison. Now, not every civil justice broadcast will take place in a shadow prison, but most of them will, or at least that's what it looks like as of now. If you're watching on YouTube, I would be so grateful if you subscribe. You could like, but I actually want to give you a reason to like the broadcast, and I want you to just give me a generic like it if you like it, but comment even if you don't like it, because even if you want to say something negative, the comments help. Anyway, so the reason I'm putting these style of broadcasts on YouTube when I am such a proponent of self-hosting, because there's a lot of reasons to self-host. One of the main reasons that I self-host is to avoid censorship. The other part of it is that I really believe in owning my likeness, my messaging, and so on. And I'm determined to go down the self-hosting path because I do believe that is the future, part of the future of media, where we're going. So I do recommend all of you learn to self-host. It's worth it. But I also want to be honest and say that, well, YouTube has some built-in advantages. So while YouTube is still here and while YouTube is going to allow me to speak on this new channel, hence why I'm asking you to subscribe, because I'm rebuilding, starting from zero. Done it a few times now, but this time I'm going to be a little bit smarter so I can stay on YouTube longer because, well, let's be honest, YouTube's awesome. They have the right to censor anyone they want because they own the platform. Censorship sucks, but it's up to us to decide, okay, do we want to be censored or not? I don't want to be censored, and that's why I self-host. But for content like this, and even clips, YouTube is perfect. I want as many people to hear this message and any other message that's delivered in our civil justice category, but more importantly, working with the civil commitment prisoners / patients. I want to thank everyone who's listened or watched or even read the transcript from the, I don't know what to really describe to call that. It wasn't a broadcast, even though I spoke in the opening, but the secret recording of the CARE conference that took place. That was disturbing. Every time I hear it, I'm more troubled. So what I did yesterday, and by the way, we have someone calling in. I'm waiting for the phone to ring. So I'm just going to talk until then. But yesterday, I sent the link to that audio with all of the audio that came from that meeting, and then also words that I said. I sent it to CNN, ABC, Fox, NBC. I sent it to independent journalists. I sent it probably to 150 different media outlets. Now, will people listen? I don't know. Will people watch? I don't know. But the information inside of that audio is damning. It's troubling and it's disturbing. This happens in regular hospitals. And it happens in nursing homes, and it happens in assisted living centers. Not all of them. There's some really amazing nursing homes. There's assisted living centers. I'm sure there's prisons that people get treated pretty nice if you have a lot of money. But civil commitment, I haven't really heard anyone talking about how awesome the accommodations are. And look, I get it. They're prisoners. So how many rights does a prisoner deserve? Some of you will say zero. Well, I don't know if you've ever been arrested before, but jail's not a lot of fun, even when it's just jail. But how about being locked in a facility that you weren't even charged with anything and you're locked there with little to no hope of getting out, and you haven't been charged? There's a guy in MSOP that has not been charged with a crime and has been there, I think, for 40 years total, or I think it's 40 years. His story is wild, but there's so many like that. Daniel, one of the guys that's calling today, same thing, like not 40 years, but his case is troubling because he'd already served his time. He'd been on the streets, living a normal life, happy, contributing to society. He is a God-fearing, Jesus-loving man, and it's genuine. I would think after all of the conversations I've had with him, I would be able to figure it out by now. He is sincere in his beliefs. And he didn't do anything wrong, and yet he's locked away there. And how he spends his time is fighting and advocating, not just for himself, but for all the others that are unjustly locked away. I don't know if unjustly is the word, but it doesn't, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. At least I think you do. So today, I have no idea why they want to talk. I'm doing this broadcast simply. It's Daniel. Yeah, Daniel and Russ are coming on today. Both upstanding gentlemen, if you ask me. They asked if they could come on today and talk because they have an announcement. I don't know what that is. I don't know anything of what they're about to tell me. So I don't know the subject matter. That said, I'm committed to giving them an outlet so that they can have a voice and get their voice out to the public. I got a bunch of letters today too, by the way, and a care package. This is super interesting. The United States Department of Justice. I actually sent a complaint to them yesterday also, and I sent them the audio and transcript of what's happening at MSOP. I hope I hear from them. But this report in itself is pretty wild. What does this thing here say? Oh, I'll just read this for fun. Thank you to the participants of the 2022 Medical Care Survey. Most of the men at Mooselake facility are traumatized by the daily abuse inflicted upon them at the hands of the MSOP. For the men who have kept hope alive, we thank you. For the men who refuse to stop fighting, we thank you. There are more people suffering all over the world. Your strength will one day be their strength as the world learns about your courage. Together, we are ending the MSOP. Together, we are finding more humane ways of dealing with sexual violence. Our resistance is in honor of the women and children who continue to suffer while the MSOP preaches its false doctrine, wasting billions that could otherwise be used to protect our communities. We thank you for being a part of the solution. We hope you will continue to work with us in the future as the data from the SE surveys are necessary if we are going to shine a light on the shadow prison and bring an end to MSOP. Well, I don't know how informative that was. But so here are the questions that were asked in the survey. Again, I'm just going to kill time until they call. I guess I could push pause, but it's not fun. So these are the questions that were asked in the survey. Is MSOP keeping you confined without a mental illness? Because you see, how they're locked up under civil commitment is due to mental illness. But when you speak to a lot of these guys, you will realize they're not mentally ill. They may have PTSD from the crap that's happening to them, but they're not mentally ill. In other words, not mentally ill in the way that justifies them being locked away for the rest of their freaking lives. Question 2. Do you have any medical conditions that the DOJ should be aware of? Number 3, are you currently living in pain? If you listen to the secret audio, you'll see why this question matters a great deal. Nurses are blatantly violating their oath. How long have you been in pain? Are you receiving pain medications? If so, what medications? That is also an interesting question after hearing what I heard a couple of days ago, and you can hear too. It's on my website, joshuatberglan.com, and you can find it on YouTube. Have you signed for a medical transport, and are you waiting transport? If so, how long have you been waiting? These are very interesting questions. When, where, why was the survey conducted? The survey was conducted during a time of extreme grief and fear at MSOP Mooselake site. 34 detainees have died at the MSOP since January of 2017. This equates to one death every 60 days. For a population of 750, this is a relatively high rate of death for any state institution. The survey was conducted to determine whether there is a connection between the rate of deaths at MSOP and the level of medical care provided through the detainees. Yeah, this is going to be troubling. Oh, look at this. 76% of the participants described various health issues, including a recent stroke, water edema, infections, heart problems, leaky bladder, advanced arthritis, spinal arthritis, chronic rheumatoid arthritis, orbital fracture, nasal fracture, migraine headaches, twisted feet, rectal bleeding, broken teeth, blindness, high blood pressure, hernia, broken teeth, blindness. Oy vey, this goes on. Deteriorating disc and back, spine, hearing loss, lump on nipple. Holy crap. Okay, they're calling. This is brutal. By the way, that list went on. That list goes on forever. It's like a whole other paragraph.
Monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using TTL.
Hello. Welcome back. You are on the air, my friend.
How are you?
I'm well. I was actually going through that medical survey that I got in the mail today, the Overcoming Corruption, Empowering All Nations, the thing that was done with the Department of Justice. That is
that survey.
Yeah.
For that. So we didn't do it with them. Got to say that, but we did it for their records.
I filed an official complaint with them yesterday and sent them that video from the tape that came from the CARE conference, as well as Fox News, CNN, ABC, NBC, local papers, and beyond. I sent it everywhere. New York Times. I sent it to everyone that would listen, including the Department of Justice and the American with Disability Act. I sent it to their organization as well, the ADA. So, yeah, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, the evidence is troubling. That was the most troubling it's one thing hearing it from you all and then reading stuff online about it, but actually hearing what was coming out of the nurse's mouth, yeah, that was a little disturbing. So everyone's got to know. Everyone's got to know. But hey, I know you're limited on time, man. So the floor is yours. You have an announcement to make. Say, as you can speak freely here.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. I'm a little anxious, but I'm a little excited. I am a Christian. My boss is Jesus Christ. Okay? He came to this earth and he told us how to live, and then he demonstrated it, and then he showed us how we will be glorified if we do what he told us to do. That's simple to me. Okay? And one of the things he taught us is compassion. And when you see somebody hurting, you help them, even if it means your own life is threatened. I've been here for 6 years and I've witnessed 36 deaths. That's a death every 60 days. There's been a total of 97 deaths. And those aren't just numbers. These are people that I'm watching deteriorate from things that are preventable. And after the conference call that you were on the other day, I think you got a taste of what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I'm
watching this firsthand. Wally is what we call the guy that was on there. And he's one of my best friends. I hang out with him all day. So I was closer to his situation than some of the other guys, but I'm seeing this stuff all the time. So it's become apparent to me that I need to do something more to really show the compassion that I have My heart hurts for these guys. I'm young, I'm 36, I don't have health problems yet. And I hope to God that there's somebody that helps me out when I get a little older. This is what we're here for. It's to defend each other, to love each other. And if that's not done with a sense of an obligation to make a sacrifice, then I don't think it's real. February 13th, James Heydrich, who is a Canadian at Cold State Hospital, he began a hunger strike.
Yeah.
And he said that he has about 200 guys ready to join him or already have. He contacted me. We're friends. He's in the same situation I'm in, only he's in California. I'm in Minnesota. These facilities exist in 20 jurisdictions. I'm going to be joining him along with a couple other guys here. We're going to join him in the hunger strike on the 3rd, 3/3/23. I'm just getting some things prepared. This is going to be a little different than what we've done in the past, but let me explain it a little bit. Our demand is simple. It's the same as Mr. Heydrich's, and it's that we want a clear path home. It's all we want. We're calling for other civil commitment facilities to join us in what we're calling perpetual hunger strike. What this means is that if somebody slips up or gives up in any way, that it's okay. There's no shame. If you got to eat one time, maybe 2 meals to get your bearings back, then do it. But then you go right back to the hunger strike. If you got to drink some water, then do that. Go right back to it. You go as long as you can without eating. And you go as many times as you have to, and you don't stop. There's no need to replan these things. It's perpetual. Yeah, I'm going to treat myself the way that I see them treat me. And I'm going to suffer with my comrades if that's what MSOP wants for them to suffer, then I'm not going to go without suffering. I'm going to do it with them. And when they feel better, I'll eat. Or when they create a clear path home, I'll eat. That's what I want, is a clear path home. But if they want me to die and suffer, I'll make it easier on them. And I'll expedite the process. So, we have families to get home to. We've done hunger strikes before, but we made the mistake of believing their promises when they came to the table to negotiate. They didn't follow through. We will not make this mistake again. Until we see action, we're not going to change what we're doing. On the 27th, we had a care conference with Wally. You were a part of that, Joshua.
Yeah.
And we got an idea of what the healthcare is like here and what the attitude is here. Yesterday, the 28th, a group of men were prepared to describe our situation to the DHS Commissioner, Jody Harpstead. She was invited to a Zoom conference with us, but she refused to go on. So we now have no other choice but to join our comrades across the nation for a perpetual hunger strike that we will continue until we have a clear path home. And that clear path home has to be clear, and it has to lead to home, and it has to be marked by an action, not a front. Wally has still not received any help since our meeting. And he wanted me to give this little analogy. If you have a dog that's sick, you bring it to the vet, and that vet reacts immediately.
Yeah.
We are literally being treated as less than animals. And I cannot stand back and act like it's not happening. I can't do it. So, I say all that, which is a little intense. I understand that.
I was not expecting you to say this.
It's a little intense, but I want to say this. I'm going to end with this. When Jesus saw the cross, he did not cower. He approached it with grace. And there's a reason he did that. It was to show us not to be afraid to carry our cross and to approach it with grace. And why? How did he show us that? He didn't show us that by dying. He showed us that by raising. The story doesn't end at the cross. It starts at the resurrection. And he's the only one that did it. And he showed me a path. I'm going to face this head on, and I'm going to take the consequences and the suffering like a real disciple as best I can. And I'm not perfect, but I'm going to give this a shot. And I expect glory on the other end. That's what this is about. We're going to have a breakthrough here. I'm going to make sure. If I have any control or any power over it, if God will just bless me with and bless us with a breakthrough, I think that it can happen. But I'm going to have to face this thing with some courage, and that's what I'm about to do. And I got a couple brothers on my side, but I haven't really announced it much at the facility. I'm hoping that I'll just show by example, and I just stick with it. And I expect a glorification for God at the end of it. He's going to be praised at the end of this. There's going to be a miracle that happens here, Joshua. And we're all going to say, Ocean and Joshua and those other guys, they did some good things. But God did this. It's going to be stuff that we're all going to go, we had nothing to do with that. Whoa. That's how it works. He makes us look stupid. And he makes himself look great. And I love that. I love it. That just doesn't mean we're not supposed to work hard. We work hard for what we believe in. But in the end, he always makes us look like fools. And I love him for it. I love it. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
All right, man. Is Russell calling or Daniel calling?
Russell's going to call.
Oh, it's Russell.
Daniel.
You're Daniel. I'm sorry. I got the thing mixed up. Sorry, Dan. I know Dan. Obviously. Russ is going to call?
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
He's going to call you. I'm going to go give him a thumbs up, and he's going to call you right now.
All right, homie.
All right.
Stay in touch, man. Let me know how it's going.
Oh,
All right. Bye.
all right. Bye.
Thank you for using GTL.
I don't know how a hunger strike works, where you can eat and then go back to it. It's like fasting, but not really fasting. And we have a cheeseburger. But he sounds serious. How effective? You know what? I should look this up. I'm sitting here talking to you all. Like, why do hunger strikes work? Why do Oh. There's like a whole thing. Wow. There are some hard. Okay. I'm not going to waste, your time, audience, me reading about hunger strikes, but evidently they're effective. There's some people. The best I've ever done with fasting is intermittent fasting and 18 hours, like doing that every day. I don't know about going. Oof. That's the thing that I'm sure Daniel's thinking to himself, like the bread, what you live on bread alone. What's that Bible verse? Basically, I had to butcher it. Man, okay. Here's another one. This is Russ.
Hello, this is a free call. Calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello.
Hello, Russ. I hear you have an announcement to make. You sound less enthusiastic than Daniel did. Oh, what'd you have surgery on?
Hernia.
Oh. How are you feeling?
So like pretty messed up with the anesthesia and stuff.
I'm glad that other than the anesthesia, you seem like you're breathing okay and you're alive, so that's good. Are you joining Daniel or do you have a different announcement?
Yeah, I have a different announcement.
Oh,
They come at a later time today.
okay.
Free.
Yeah, I was thinking that may not be wise. I was going to advise against it. What's your announcement?
First off, on it for your podcast for giving us the voice back. It's so important that we have this opportunity to have a voice. And my plea to all of our listeners is that please donate to Life Matter Worldwide Foundation. The donations are critical to keeping our voices alive and sharing them with the rest of society, the rest of humanity. I mean, without you guys, we wouldn't have this opportunity to let the public know what is going on in places like this. Well, I'm really grateful.
I appreciate that. I'm actually not operating the foundation anymore, but I'm doing this work because I'm here to support you guys because I believe what's happening to you all is wrong. Obviously, I would be grateful for any support that people want to give, but I'm doing this because not because of the nonprofit close that down, but I'm doing this because I think what's happening there is wrong. And I believe in your mission because it's not just about you guys trying to get out from the shadow prison. You're trying to stop sexual violence too. Like you guys have a bigger mission than I think that gets mentioned most of the time, but ultimately you're trying to stop sexual violence while also trying to protect the taxpayers, while also trying to ease people's suffering because there's people suffering unjustly in those facilities, especially the one you're at.
Or just really pissing me off because so much government. Well, dollar for being in this place. I, well, like all the money that going towards preventive program.
Or even rehabilitation for the youth that that if there was no resources available for me and oh crap.
Table.
I'll let you have final minute, man.
What I do, I'll call you back.
Yeah, you can do that.
I got those 2 5-minute calls. I'll call you back, answer, and then hang up, and then I'll give you that 15-minute call.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you for using.
Why it does that? Okay. Yeah, so by the way, I'm grateful that he announced that, and I made the decision to close down Live Mana because we were just putting every dime that we made went into that, and so that we could serve and continue this mission. But it was like we weren't spending time asking for donations and other things. We did every once in a while. But those of you that have had a nonprofit out there, you know that here I'm going to end this call.
Hello.
Yeah. But those, if you've ever had a nonprofit or have ever worked with a nonprofit, it's fundraising is like what you got to do. And we didn't do that. We're going to serve and we're going to trust that God's going to provide. And that was an eye-opening experience. We've put probably 120,000 of our own money in it and try to give away our network and everything else. So it wasn't smart business, but we have a heart to serve. So we just changed things up. And that's why I'm serving like this now. But if you want to give, God bless you. There'll be notes. There'll be a link in the comments. That would be super.
Hello. This is a free call from client at the Mooselake Secure Treatment Facility. To accept this free call, calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL. Thank you for using GTL.
What happened? Oh, I don't. Oh, maybe I actually had to pick up the phone and it's whatever. He'll call back. I know he will. Anyway, look, you don't need a nonprofit to serve, is the point. Changed how we're going to serve. And it requires money to do the things that we want to do and how we want to help. It requires money to produce all of this content and distribute it. And everything we do, it still costs money. We just lowered my overhead and there's no sense in trying to operate 2 businesses. So that's why we have a buy one, give one program and still technically a 501c3. So you can, if you want to donate, thanks. Mission continues regardless. That's the point.
Hello.
And he didn't
This is a free call from client at the
Sir-
Mooselake Secure Treatment Facility. To accept
Serving
this
feels
call,
amazing.
use the
It's my favorite thing to do. I would rather help people that need it all day long than anything else.
To accept this free call,
I hit zero like 10 times. Come on.
Free call, hang up, or press call for subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be detected. Thank you for using TTL.
Oh, welcome back.
That I really want to address that. And ask for them. Well, in order to do this or do that, take listening action. And with well, if we well, the legislature, it's going to take time, 2 or 3 years or 5 years or whatever. But it only took up in 1994. It took 97 minutes to create this law. They can end it just as fast.
They can do anything that they want to do. Like they don't. That's proved a vaccine when it usually takes what 5 to 8 years. They did it in a couple months. So I mean, they can do it. They can make any rule they want and break any rule they want because they do it all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a cop out.
Yeah. So I think it is what we got going on right now. We're calling for everyone who hears this message, call their local legislators, all the administrators of the MSOP program, South Prison, to demand a clear path home for all of us here. In Minnesota, Nancy Johnson, the executive director of the MSOP, who asked the people to start contacting her to demand that she give us a clear path home. For those who are willing to stand up and have the courage to do this, we're asking to contact her. Her number is 651-431-4390. Their email is nancy.a.johnson@state.mn.us.
Wait, whoa, slow down. What's the email address again? Nancy dot. Oh, Johnston. Okay.
At state.mn.us.
Okay.
And we're also asking them to contact the Minnesota DHS Commissioner. And that's Jody Harpstead.
Okay.
And to really hammer this home, we're asking them to contact the Minnesota Governor, Tim Wolf. We want to stick with that same demand. We want a clear path home. It's their responsibility to develop it.
Yeah, I know that some people that hear this will absolutely be reaching out to them. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm actually going to send. I have two different things that I have that audio from the CARE conference, and then I've got emails from one of the employees that pretty much proved everything that was happening in the secret audio. It's not really secret because I told them that I was recording them, but like that the employee from the emails I had 2 months ago, they were confirming everything that I heard in those meetings and more. Sex with the inmates and all kinds of stuff. So it's what you guys are saying is actually true. You're not just prisoners trying to get out. Like you're telling the truth.
That's pretty unbelievable for some people. Like, you know, really believe what actually what we're seeing. Here's proof.
Yeah, I don't think they believe it. It took me a while to start believing it. It took seeing evidence really to truly believe it. But after that, getting to know you guys, I'm starting to understand that You're definitely not the monsters that they're trying to paint you out to be. And you're definitely not mentally ill.
Oh,
Dadgummit. Okay. That's a lot there. Nancy.a.johnston@state.mn.us. 651-431-4390. Who has the guts to call? I'm going to, because why wouldn't I at this point? Like this matters. On a side note, the last thing that I would ever think of doing is getting on a microphone after being under anesthesia. I remember after my second back surgery, I tried to conduct business. It was pretty bad. Oh, he's calling back.
hello. This is a pre.
Oh,
Oh, welcome back.
a little, I'm reading. I wanted to urge the listeners to read
Okay.
that would pertain to this. So when we talk about prevention, and we're like in Minnesota, where the $100 million could go to, rather than going to the shadow prison, can be put into actual prevention programs that actually do have the goal of it. And sexual. I urge our reader or our listeners to read Prisoning by Any Other Name. The authors are Benoit and
Hello?
Yeah. The authors are Benoit and Blanc.
Okay.
And then the other document I urge our listeners to read is it's a law review by Catherine L. Carpenter. And the law review is titled Panic Legislation.
Okay.
And those are the two, like, when I started really understanding how these laws were created, it's by panic legislation. It took 97 minutes for the Minnesota legislature to create this law, and it detained over 700 people. But in that, they've also detained and surveilled our families in the 29-year history of this program.
Wait, they're spying on your families?
Like right now, we had this conversation, and they listen to every conversation that we have. When they come to visit us, they monitor every visit. And the devastating thing about that majority of people don't understand is that this is supposed to be unhospital, right? And we're supposed to receive treatment for whatever we're here for. But for me, when I had my children coming in and they were young toddlers, they would have to go through these searches. They would be patted down, they'd be wanted. Essentially being treated like criminals. Just become a visitor to the father. And to me, that's pretty devastating. It became a point where I wanted to ask my children or ask the guardians of my children not to bring them in because I don't want them to be subjected as being treated as criminals.
Yeah. No, I can understand that.
When people read literature by Professor Carpenter and by Samuel Law, they'll get to understand of how devastating laws were created and how they've had an impact not only on the people that they've incarcerated, but on their families, on the community.
Wow.
In Catherine Carpenter's law review, she lays it out so crucially in all the supporting documents and authors that have helped to write this article. There's no reason any program like this place should exist in America. Because people who committed crimes of special nature have such a low recidivism that if those prevention programs and supportive programs were put into place, it would be people who not would have those with her that don't really work.
Yeah, I mean, having resources available, and because I don't believe that people are born violent or evil or predatory. I believe they're created through other abuse. And I could be wrong. I know there's research that would either support or conflict with what I just said, but I'm just knowing my own experience. Like I wish that there was resources in place because I was crying out for help, and there was no one there to really help. And that's a problem. And then you have other people that I think of people that come out of human trafficking and they try to rehabilitate their life. They go back to trafficking because there's not resources in place for them to help them. It's more than rehabilitation. It's to also give people a reason to want to stay on the right path or to rehabilitate. Like they've got to have hope on the other side of the work they're doing, because there's going to be an incentive to want to do it. And then so many does not a one size fits all thing, but what it does come down to is that there's not resources in place. The money is being sent to all the wrong places. None of it. It's not even putting a Band-Aid on a bazooka wound. I don't even know what the hell it's doing. But the fact is, it's not money well spent. And these issues could be prevented. These absolutely could be people that get rehabilitated early enough to keep these kind of instances from happening. Like what in the hell makes somebody so angry that they would want to become a sexually violent person? What is it? Is it a demon? Is it a spirit? Is it trauma? Is it their own abuse? What is it? But these are the questions that would have to be answered before we just say, you know what? We're going to throw you in a hole and just leave you there, but I'm going to collect billions of dollars and not do anything for your care, but I'm going to throw you in a hole. And that's what they've done to you guys, is thrown you into a hole. And that's not right. And it's not a treatment facility. It's false marketing. It's whoever approved this gave a bunch of false information to get it done, because the very reasons why taxpayers pay for these facilities, that's not being done at all. Not even close. And that's a problem. That should piss people off over everything. But people are upset about the price of everything going up, yet they're getting paid less money. They're paying higher taxes. Well, guess what, folks? You're paying for all this crap too. It's just billions of dollars being wasted.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. There's a program out there, a prevention program that's going on in Chicago. It's called Creative Intervention. And the founder of it, her name is Mimi Kim. And if other states were to work with her to develop a prevention program based on her philosophy and what they developed in Chicago, I think that would be the key right there. Because it focuses on community accountability and organizational accountability. And these two things go hand in hand. It's not just, well, this person committed a crime. Let's charge them, send them to a judicial process, convict them, and then send them to either prison or probation. But in that, the person who suffers the victimization is forgotten. They're pushed aside. Now, what about all these services that could go to helping this person rehabilitate? Me personally, I feel like if a person committed a crime, like take me for example, the crime I committed, I would want my entire community to be involved in my rehabilitation process.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a focus right there for my rehabilitation, for assuring the community that I'm going through the proper rehabilitation, make sure that I do return to society a healthy individual. And it's more broader than just the way I've explained it, but the community and the organizations in the community need to be involved in everyone's rehabilitation.
I'm looking at this creative interventions organization, and they're definitely doing something beneficial.
Yeah. Yep.
This is everything from all kinds of violence, domestic violence, sexual violence, all kinds of stuff. Wow. So this is the kind of stuff, this is the kind of the care that gets things done. And I believe, and you may be able to correct me, you more about this than I do, but when you have this kind of approach, like creative interventions, what you also do is help heal the community.
Yes, absolutely.
because people get to understand, and then get to understand that it's real easy to point the finger. And I want to make this clear. I am not calling you a monster. Okay. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying, it's easy for people to go, oh, they're in civil commitment prisons. They're in a shadow prison. They're a bunch of sex offenders, a bunch of and look at you like you're a bunch of evil creeps. But yet they don't really know any of your stories. There probably is some evil creeps there, but not all of you are. So to blanket the term, it's like saying all drag queens are pedophiles. That's not true either. Like, not all drag queens are even gay. But because there's Drag Queen Story Hour and they've got drag queens dancing for kids, now all of a sudden all drag queens are evil. I know it's a weird example, but it's the same thing. It's a lack of understanding, and we judge what we don't understand. Therefore, we're throwing our hate and wasting our energy, or at least putting negative energy towards something that who's actually the bad guy? The one that takes time to understand, or the one that just dismisses everything as evil? So at least this creative interventions and what you're speaking about actually makes sense. It allows people to understand. It creates the space for healing that is generational, not just, here, I'm going to put a Band-Aid on this, or throw one person on a bunch of drugs and give them therapy. This is community healing. This is the approach. I like this. I'm glad that you brought that to my attention.
Yeah. I've been reaching out. I'm trying to connect with maybe Kim right now. I've called and I haven't been able to get through. So I've shot the letters out her way, and I'm hoping I hear some responses. But I don't know, maybe if you could connect with her and let her know, hey, these guys are reaching out to you and they want to make connections with you because they want to establish a program in Minnesota that you've got established in Chicago.
I'm absolutely going to reach out to them, and I'm actually going to send them reasons why they want to pay attention.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. Do you have anything else you want to share, man?
I think that's about it. I got so much on my mind right now, but it's coming down for this anesthesia. I'm still trying to get my bearings and everything.
Get soon, recover soon. Reach out anytime, man, if I can do anything for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, man. God bless you. Bye-bye. Okay. If you watch this, thank you, because looking at me, listening to someone talk and not seeing who they are, it can't be much fun. But this will be on podcast too. And here's the other thing too. I can do all the creative, fun video, B-roll stuff to paint the picture, but this is not a glamorous thing. This is just the meat and potatoes of technology. It's probably terrible. It doesn't matter. Okay. Hunger strike. A lot going on. Wow. Wasn't expecting to hear that. And he brought up James Heydrich. I know James pretty well. And boy, that guy's got a story. You got to, just for fun, Google James Heydrich. Hydrick. If I could tell you how wild that story is, like, it's one thing what you'll see online, but this story is way crazier. If you ever saw the movie Bloodsport, it ties into that in Iran Contra. I'll tell you one thing. I have big ambitions. I'm not going to share. I've already shared what my vision is. It doesn't matter. But I have big goals, personal goals in this. And yet at the same time, I have my goals for humanity and what I want to see. And I remember the very first time that I said that I wanted to reach into hell, the places that I came from, and pull people out. I want to be a voice for the voiceless. I want to elevate other voices for the voiceless. I want to equip and elevate the voiceless so that they can have a voice. When I said all that the first time and it came through me, it wasn't something that I sat around and go, okay, this sounds clever. it just came out of my mouth in a podcast interview. And it was like, that's my calling card. And at that time, I'm still struggling with DID, which is dissociative identity disorder. I'm not even like remotely recovered or healed. I just had a heart for God and was ready to change. And committed to doing the work. But I was on a journey. It's interesting. I think people liked me more when I was struggling and effed up and still fighting and crawling to get my mind. But it was like as I became more of who God created me to be, and then got more vocal about things I'm not going to share in this broadcast because I don't want to get suspended again from these other platforms. But I'm not complaining about that. I just never thought at all, like here's the thing. It requires popularity to do what I want to do for other people. But as far as my effort and my work, I'm not doing it to be popular. But I would be lying if I told you that I thought that I would be working with sex offenders or people that have been thrown into a sex offender shadow prison. Some of them haven't even been tried. I never thought I would be doing this, ever. Never even registered for me. I wanted to do prison ministry, though. I just didn't know these prisons existed. And you know what's interesting? I've been trying to do. Everything from trying to serve in the church to working in prison ministries or with a prison ministry. Like, I had conversations. And just like the church, all of these promises, all of these, I'm going to do this, going to do that. Everyone flaked out. No one followed through on what they said. So when the church rejected us, finally just dusted my feet off and said, screw you guys. Like, I don't know what it is about someone being honest about their testimony and honest about where they're at, instead of pretending that I got it all figured out. Like, I reject the church. Because if the church is supposed to be a hospital for sinners and chief sinner is coming in, even though I have a heart for God, still saying I'm struggling in these areas, and people turn their back, yeah, I want no part of that. So you know what happened? We like dusted our feet. We started our own thing. I have no regrets. The prison ministry didn't welcome us. Or the organizations that we talked to, oh, yeah, excited. We're going to send you all the paperwork. Never heard from them. But you know what? I'm not mad at them because God had something better for me. And I love getting to help these guys. I've met a couple I'm not real fond of, honestly. Some trigger me, like they awaken the hurt little boy inside because of what happened to me. I've had a few that have done that. But for the most part, I don't even believe that some of the people did what supposedly they did. I don't. And I'm not blind and I'm not stupid. I know and here's the thing, some of them, the ones that are still struggling, they'll tell you. So I'm glad that God gave me this assignment. I just hope that I'm able to help. I'm hoping that however we're putting this kind of content out, that there's people listening, people willing to help them. They need help. They need prayer. They need a miracle. And I don't really know I know what a hunger strike is now, or at least a little bit more details about it. But I would imagine that they're going to need your prayer for the hunger strike too. Because what I've read about it doesn't sound very pleasant. I wouldn't want to do that. In fact, if I was locked in prison, I would find every way possible to just eat nonstop. That's pretty much what I gave up my peanut butter a few times. That was a smart decision. No one should have to give up their peanut butter, but they're going to hunger strike, so they're going to give up everything. God bless them. I'm just rambling now, so I'm going to stop. I would be grateful if you could support these men by prayer. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.